Oathbreaker is my new favorite way to play Magic the Gathering, and today I'm going to show you how to build a powerful but fun deck for just half the price of one Scalding Tarn. To do so, we'll be using Arlinn, one of my favorite planeswalkers, both in flavor and in function. She is a double-faced card planeswalker that flips into another form of planeswalker, capturing the wild transformation that occurs when a human succumbs to the silver moon of Innistrad and becomes a werewolf, and also having a huge bevy of really awesome werewolf-themed abilities. The only problem? She can't be your commander. But if you are a werewolf lover looking for a howling good time, then have I got a deck for you. It's Arlinn's Howling Good Time, and it is Oathbreaker Werewolves. Even though this deck is super inexpensive to put together, that doesn't mean it doesn't have teeth. Arlinn, the deck's Oathbreaker, is one of the most expensive cards the deck runs at $3.45. If you're unfamiliar with the rules of Oathbreaker, check out my introduction to the format video linked here and in this video's description. Arlinn, our Oathbreaker, is a planeswalker for 2 mana of any color, a red and a green. She enters with 3 starting loyalty, and you can +1 that loyalty, so that until end of turn, up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 and gains vigilance and haste. For 0, you can put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield, transform Arlinn. Once transformed, Arlinn can add 1 loyalty to give creatures you control +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. For -1, Arlinn, Embraced by the Moon, deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and then you transform her back. For -6, you get an emblem with creatures you control have haste and tap for this creature to deal damage equal to its power to target creature or player. Arlinn's signature spell in this deck is Moon Mist, a nicely priced instant for 1 and a green that transforms all humans and prevents all combat damage done this turn, except for wolves and werewolves. Our deck is almost entirely wolves and werewolves, as well, of course, for humans that transform into werewolves, so this signature spell is incredible when you think about it. It means that Arlinn's pack of wolves and werewolves and humans that turn into werewolves can be on the attack with no fear of combat repercussions. As you'll see in a moment, many give and get bonuses just for attacking, and the often tricky conditional clause needed to transform humans into their value-packed werewolf forms isn't a problem with Moon Mist on the ready. Most notably, this lets us charge up the second most expensive card in our entire deck, Beastmaster Ascension, at a whopping $4.25. I know that's expensive compared to the rest of the cards in this deck, but it's worth it. Ascension is an enchantment for the noble cost of 2 and a green mana that gets a quest counter each time a creature of ours attacks. If it has 7 counters, then creatures we control get +5/+5, meaning even the smallest of our wolf pups will be able to go for the jugular. All of our creatures in this deck are under $1 each, most under 50 cents, except for 3 Alpha Pack leaders. Huntmaster of the Fells, the most expensive card in the entire deck, Master of the Hunt, and Mayor of Averbruck, costing $6.47, $3, and $2 respectively. Beyond this, our creatures cost at or significantly below $1, but first, let's see just why these 3 cards cost so much. Huntmaster of the Fells is sadly not a legendary, otherwise it would have spawned a million commander decks. For 2 generic mana, a red and a green, you get a human werewolf that's a 2/2. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Huntmaster of the Fells, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield and you gain 2 life. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform Huntmaster of the Fells. Huntmaster becomes Ravager of the Fells, a 4/4 werewolf with trample. And whenever this creature transforms into Ravager of the Fells, it deals 2 damage to target opponent and 2 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls. At the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells last turn, transform Ravager of the Fells. Master of the Wild Hunt isn't from Innistrad, at least not so far as we know, but I think he'd find the plane a suitable home given his affinity for all things furry. For 2 generic and 2 green, you get a human shaman that's a 3/3, and at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Tap Master of the Wild Hunt and tap all untapped wolf creatures you control. Each wolf tapped this way deals damage equal to its power to target creature. That creature deals damage equal to its power divided as its controller chooses among any number of those wolves. So we have a token generator, as well as a great source of removal. Next, the Mayor of Avabruck is the go-to politician of this deck. Our true blue, or rather mono green, Werewolf Lord. Mayor of Avabruck is only 1 generic and 1 green for a 1/1 human advisor werewolf. Other human creatures you control get +1/+1, but transform him into Howlpack Alpha, and other werewolf and wolf creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. Keep in mind that even in human form, werewolves are werewolves, and so that bonus will apply. The deck is also running Arlinn, Voice of the Pack, a mono-green version of our Oathbreaker from War of the Spark. Much more costly at 4 generic mana and 2 green, Arlinn, Voice of the Pack comes in with 7 loyalty, and each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. For -2, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Fantastic card, but I wouldn't want her as our Oathbreaker. She's too expensive, and she's only in green. Now, both Rhythm of the Wild and Guardian Project are enchantments from Ravnica Allegiance that fit nicely in this deck. For 1, a red and a green, Rhythm of the Wild is an enchantment that gives creature spells you control can't be countered, and non-token creatures you control have Riot, which means they enter the battlefield with your choice of a +1/+1 counter or haste. Meanwhile, Guardian Project is 3 and a green for an enchantment that reads, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control, or a creature card in your graveyard, draw a card. Considering this is singleton, that means we're going to get the effect every time. Now, Moon Mist is our signature spell, so let's see the humans we'll be transforming into werewolves. Scorned Villager is our early game mana dork, giving us 1 green while a human, and 2 green when a werewolf. Bareneck Rider serves as a minor pump for attackers once he transforms into Neckbreaker. Never mind the 4/3 werewolf, Neckbreaker will give attacking creatures you control +1/+0 and trample. And along those lines, Instigator Gang turns into a Wild Blood Pack that gives attacking creatures you control +3. Cruin Outlaw is another favorite of mine from the original Innistrad days, turning into the Terror of Cruin Pass. She begins as a simple 2/2 with First Strike for 1 and 2 red mana, but as the Terror, she's a 3/3 double strike, and each werewolf you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Menacingly good time. Once Scryer Reach Bandit is transformed into Vilden Pack Alpha, whenever a werewolf enters the battlefield under your control, you may transform it. And Daybreak Ranger is really neat. Even as a human, she's got some use, being able to tap to deal 2 damage to target creature with flying, but transform her into Nightfall Predator, and for a red and a tap, Nightfall Predator fights another target creature. Afflicted Deserter transforms into a Werewolf Ransacker. Whenever this creature transforms into Werewolf Ransacker, you may destroy target artifact. If that artifact is put into a graveyard this way, the Ransacker will deal 3 damage to that artifact's controller. Rounding all of this out is Ulrich of the Krallen Horde, 3 generic mana, 1 red and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature, a human werewolf. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Ulrich of the Krallen Horde, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Once transformed into Ulrich Uncontested Alpha, you may have it fight target non-werewolf creature you don't control. We're going to add to all of this Full Moon's Rise, 1 generic and a green, an enchantment that gives werewolf creatures you control +1/+0 and trample, and in a pinch we can sacrifice it to regenerate all werewolf creatures we control. The deck also has a ramp package in the form of Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, and Skyshroud Claim. Howlpack Resurgence is an enchantment with flash that gives each creature we control that's a wolf or werewolf +1/+1 and has trample. A nice little combat trick to pull out, or just a steady mainstay. to keep our wolves strong. Wolfcaller's Howl is fun. For 3 generic mana and 1 green at the beginning of your upkeep, create X 2/2 green wolf creature tokens, where X is the number of your opponents with 4 or more cards in hand. Remember, we're in multiplayer here. What better way to be on the hunt than with a Bow of Nylea, a legendary enchantment artifact that gives attacking creatures you control Death Touch. We can also spend a green and 1 generic to tap and choose 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, or Bow of Nylea deals 2 damage to target creature with flying, or you gain 3 life, or put up to 4 target creature cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library in any order. Fantastic. Removal in this deck takes the form of Beast Within and Moonlight Hunt. Moonlight Hunt going after creatures and Beast Within going after, well, whatever we want. Our mana base can be run in budget mode, which keeps the cost of this deck down. You don't need to be sticking in tons of fetch lands or even a shock land, since you are only in 2 color here. Although if you want to upgrade and have a Stomping Grounds, then by all means, please do so. But we're just going to run cards like Cinderglade, Rugged Highlands, Sheltered Thicket, and Temple of Abandon, which are double-colored lands that don't have a high price tag, and we'll make do with 9 forests and 7 mountains. And we'll also run a Kessig Wolf run, both on flavor and also to pump up an attacker when needed. If you haven't tried Oathbreaker, then I have a feeling Arlinn's Howling Good Time is a deck that will make you flip, just like the human werewolves in it. But maybe there's another Planeswalker and signature spell combo you are just dying to try out and brew around. If so, let me know in the comments below, or head on over to our Oathbreaker MTG to post decks, ask questions, and talk all things Oathbreaker. And this program was made possible thanks to a sponsorship from Card Kingdom, as well as the Patreon support of viewers such as you. So thank you.